Welcome to Two Sisters Podcast with your hosts, Kristy and Melissa, who are real sisters bringing you real talk about life and faith through humor, insight, and community. Now, let's get into this week's episode.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Melissa
and Kristy.
And welcome to Two Sisters Podcast.
Today, we're going to discuss the concept of, am I enough? Let's talk about this. Am I enough? So, as women, right?
Mm-hmm.
When do we first start to get this idea or notion in our head that we either are or aren't enough?
I would say pretty much when you first step out on the playground when you in preschool.
Preschool, like 3-4-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you start to, okay, I'm being facetious, but what I'm saying is you start to realize the differences between you and another girl and then who the boys are playing with. I think that start to really it's like the start of. And then by the time you get in kindergarten, I actually do. By the time you're 5 years old, you do know the difference. I know I did.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have somewhat of a background in education, so, I saw it. And I think you're right, spot on. The first age group that you said, 3 and 4-year-olds, they notice differences. So, and what I'm talking about is we'll just do like surface level for right now. So, like, if I have on, some fly clothes, and my clothes are shiny and brand new.
Wait, do they say fly still?
That's what we're going to do, right? I'm not going to try. I'm going to, whatever comes out of my mouth, okay, to describe what I'm talking about. Right now it's fly. Okay, I got on fly gear as a 3-year-old. So if, 1 3-year-old, 4-year-old has, brand new kicks, brand new sneakers, their hat's new or their shoes is new, their, the girls have purses and jackets and
gowns,
all kinds of stuff, little fake lip gloss in their little purse and, all kinds
pretty
of
barrettes.
Hair freshly did, greased up scalp, But then you might have another girl or boy that don't have the new stuff. Right? Mm-hmm. Especially when school first starts. Like, they got the scuffed up sneakers. They have the, their pants might be dirty or ripped or, definitely no name brands. They ain't coming with the Jordans and whoever else.
Yeah.
Brand names. And unfortunately, 3 and 4-year-olds and 4-year-olds, they know what a Nike is. They know what an Air Jordan is. If they have been conditioned and socializing that way at home, then it is what it is. So, yeah, I do agree with you. Am I enough? Or you start noticing she has on something different than me, or he has on something different than me, or he has brand new notebooks. I mean, it can be very simple.
It is, yeah. I mean, at
he
that
has
age,
a brand new book bag, and I got a plastic bag from the grocery store. To bring my extra clothes in, and, at school. So, yeah, it starts very, very early, and I don't think that we realize that as adults, maybe, either as aunties or mothers and fathers, we don't really think about a 3 to 4-year-old experience in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really on our radar per se until we have encounters, with the little ones in our family. Something has happened, that they've been
something like
picked
what?
on, or a note's been sent home from a teacher, or you don't really think about a 3 and 4-year-old in the trenches, but sometimes, unfortunately, they are.
Yeah. So would you say that the differences that we start to notice when we're younger, as little kids, like comparisons? So what's the difference? Comparisons, peer pressure, leading to bullying. You know what I mean? Like, I know that all of that stuff, start to add up and add up to you feeling not enough. especially when you've been bullied and peer pressured. But what do you think when it becomes different from saying or noticing those differences and then comparison, do you think that's like a segue?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying you notice those differences young, but then you actually start comparing. You don't really. Then you get older. Kindergarten, first, second grade, elementary school is where it really goes down. When you really start to notice. Yep. Because kids become more verbal and more cruel.
I feel like they're verbal at 3 and 4.
Yeah, but they can articulate it better as they get older, and the differences are more pronounced per se. Because by the time you get to your actual grade levels, then the school starts to separate you and your intelligence.
Yeah.
And then that's another layer as well, like as far as reading comprehension, math comprehension, things of that nature. So we're really sticking to this education one. But, socially, right, it starts to manifest bigger, on a playground. If you have multiple grades playing together, as opposed to just one class, then you're going to have certain, then the social groups start. You know what I mean? As you progress in high school and you get to high school, elementary to middle school, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and then on and on and on. And then that's when you start to separate the athletic, from the popular nerds, kids, right? Yeah. And then you get the popularity, and it's all based on probably the foundation of that 3-4-year-old experience. You know what I mean? Like the levels of separation as far as income and the things that kids are wearing, the school materials that they have if it's not already provided for the school. And this could be, I'm specifically speaking to like a public school experience, not necessarily a private school experience. But yeah, it kind of starts there and goes. It enhances and expands and becomes bigger. Now, so a student or a boy or a girl might have a conflict with what's happening in school and then what's happening in home, right? So they might be experiencing these things at school, but then it's so important to have that foundation at home as well, because you have to combat what's going on in school you have to instill those, you are enough, right? And if that's the little black girl with the little curly hair, like for you, right, Melissa, you got picked on because you didn't necessarily have kinky hair.
Right. I did.
You know what I mean?
I got picked on, and I feel like there's a difference between being picked on and bullied and all those different things. And that's what I was going to ask you. Like I said, starting from 3 to 4, going into grade school, going into middle school, then getting into high school, where it's really about popularity, and you really have your groups then. Your nerds or your nerds,
intellectuals,
right? And then the athletes or the popular, because I feel like popular sometimes wasn't the athletic,
the athletes and jocks,
right? So. And then you get into adulthood. And so I wanted to ask you your opinion about, I feel like some of the negative things can happen, like jealousy, envy, low self-esteem, and what we call thirsty today. Like just being thirsty for attention and then not knowing when someone, like the difference between someone just paying a compliment versus giving that attention in that type of way. Like they don't want you, they just being nice. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like right now in this day and age, it's like women can't tell the difference. So I just wanted to see what your opinion was about that. Like, do you think those things help to manifest those different types of traits, character, like jealousy, just being envious, like, you know what I mean? And
so if you are basically conditioned in school or in life. You know, you start at 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
You get thrown into social environments for, years and years and years till you graduate. And then you are an adult woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're saying is, are those deficits that were created in your adolescent time, if they're not properly taken care of, can they then turn into jealousy and envy and thirst?
Correct.
Because you are needing something that you kind of never really got or never was fulfilled for you. Or you just never identified.
Exactly. And being at home, let's just say, like you said, I do believe the number one thing is the foundation, which would be the home. So if your home isn't like on solid ground and you seeing that kind of toxicity, or you're not seeing your mom healthy habits of showing like high self-esteem and or if she wasn't pouring into you as a young girl, or it could be she was pouring into you as a young girl, but when you got outside of the house, you didn't know how to navigate your way. So yeah, what do you think about that?
I need you to be a little clearer on your question.
Well, I asked you, like, do you think, you already summed it up, do you think that all stems to women being, how they get to I am not enough, or get the feeling that, they're lacking in their self-esteem? Because it's really about your belief in yourself. It's really about the confidence you have in yourself.
Yeah. Guys, this conversation can be like a 10-part series, right? Because it's so nuanced. It's so unique. Every woman's experience is so different. Mm-hmm. And it could be totally possible for a young girl to grow up to be a young lady and to be an adult and have that foundation necessary. Mm-hmm. Either she had it instilled in her by a mother and father, just a mother or just a father, or she had a lack thereof and she instilled it in herself because
it wasn't there.
She had to,
right?
Mm-hmm. But then in life, you're constantly bombarded with the possibility that you are not enough. So even if you think you are, right?
Yeah.
If you think you are it, right? You think you're the shiznick, right? Another 1990 early 2000s term,
right?
Like fly. If you think you it, right? You the best thing is smoking. Constantly, you are being bombarded with. You might be bombarded with messages that you are not, from media, from music, from
really the music,
career, job wise, like. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, when a woman faces challenges of, she's being, her sense of self is being attacked.
Yeah.
She has to, at some point in her life, set herself down, right? Mm-hmm. And normally, oftentimes, it comes with a faith walk, right? If you have faith and you have a relationship with God and you believe in a God, like, most times that centers you so that you can really learn who you are and start from there. Some people don't have a faith and kind of build their self up, but all adults at some point in their life, especially, we're women, so we can speak to women, you have to be real with yourself and kind of have that conversation of your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So like on a job interview, what do they ask you, right? Mm-hmm. What are your strengths, Melissa? What is your weaknesses? They don't really word like that anymore. Mm-mm. What can you work on? Right? What are your challenges?
What are your challenges?
Right?
Mm-hmm. So how do you use it to your advantage?
So you have to be real with yourself as an adult and be like, okay, listen, I am so good with makeup. Mm-hmm. I am so good with styling myself. I know I can put a great outfit together. Mm-hmm. Or I am extremely good at numbers. I can add this up with no problem. Multiply, divide, subtract. I am I love my thighs. I ran track in high school, and I still got them. Like, I was great at hurdles.
Sure.
Or, my hair is healthy and whatever. Like, you have those external things that you kind of look to, like you kind of know, you just have this type of appeal. You're confident in your physical appearance to, certain things. You have favorite things on your body, and you have certain things that you're like, I can improve on that. But what we're really getting to is the question of I am enough has to be a look inside.
Yes.
Because
yes,
if it's only outside and if it's only external, then anybody can tear you down. Like, depending on literally the year, you might not be in style. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by that?
Depending on the fads. If you just look to your external outsides, like, I have big brown eyes. Well, big brown eyes might not be in the year, 2022, but they're in 2020.
Right.
You know what I mean? Thick thighs might be in 1999, but they might not be in 2023.
Yeah, thick thighs are saving lives up until 2022.
That might not be a thing. That might not be a thing. Or, glasses might be, the trend. And, oh my gosh, you look so intelligent because you have glasses, blah, blah, blah. Like, short hair might be in, long hair might be in, wavy hair might be in, curly hair might be in, pretty toes might be in, or
pretty toes should always be in.
It should be, it should be, but maybe not. Like, you just don't, you don't have any control. Like, the average person doesn't have control over trends. So
that's
a woman has to look inside herself.
Okay, how does
for her character, her character.
Okay.
And her value. So, what does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like?
That looks like, am I kind?
Okay, character. Okay.
Am I dependable? Mm-hmm. Am I a good friend? Right? Mm-hmm. It could be, I have talent. I feel like I'm a good writer. Inside, I know I'm a good writer.
So belief in yourself.
Belief in yourself. Mm-hmm. And then trust in that. And really holding on to that. And you really have to dig your heels in. You know what I mean? And this happens at different ages. Yeah. At different points. Some have it in their 20s where they're super secure. Some have it in their 50s or 60s. And so a 25-year-old could be just as secure as a 50-year-old. Women, we go through it at different points in time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can say I went through I am enough at, in college, early 20s. Mm. Then I went through it again late 20s. Like, you know what? I had no idea who I was. At 21, I just knew I knew who I was. But at 28 and 29, I'm up here like, yes, I'm really secure. So, yeah, we go through it. But I am enough, guys. This question is so important to get to the point where you do feel like you are enough. Like, you gotta have that foundation in your soul, like anchored.
Foundation in your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The foundation in your soul, because if it's not anchored, then anybody can sway you to tell you and convince you that you're not enough. And all kinds of problems come into play, right?
Yeah.
What is the consequences of that? My gosh.
Of you being swayed to the left or to the right?
Right. That means you'll end up at a job that you hate for longer than necessary. You know what I mean? Like, everybody takes jobs that, are necessary in life, but then if you don't know that you are enough, it creates ripple effects in most aspects of your life.
Almost every area.
Almost every career, family, whether you're doing too much for family members, they keep asking you to do stuff, and
it's for anybody, even at work, you're doing it.
Even at work,
at church, you're doing it.
Oh my gosh,
it's called burnout.
Listen,
you get burned out.
Relationships, right?
Yes.
It's a continuous strive to please other people, or to sway with whatever the trend is, or for somebody else to be able to walk into your life and tell you what you are and what you are not. Right?
Yeah.
And based on how anchored you are in your soul, that you do or do not know that you are enough. It's how you're going to kind of be like a leaf in the wind or that tree planted.
And so your will, mind, and emotions. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So to please others, what are some other effects?
Other effects?
Like pleasing others, that's a good one. I call it living out other people's narratives, because I feel like, and again, I tend to get more on the deeper side because, you know me, I'm just me. But like that 3 to 4, I feel like it starts right there. And then once you get to become an adult, you don't even realize how much left you went because you're listening to everybody else. So you're trying to please your parents at home, you're trying to please your coaches at school, or you're trying to please this teacher you know, have high regard for at school, trying to get good grades. It's never about you, is my point. And so by the time you get to live your so-called life, you even went to college for somebody else. It wasn't something you wanted to do. So you get into this whole career of whatever, and it's not even what you like to do. It's nothing. And with that, you done got married, you done had children. You know what I'm saying? Life never stops. So you're just rolling, rolling. So for me, I call that narrative, because you literally are living out other people's blueprints instead of the one you have, you know? So yeah, I just really encourage people to go with what's written in their hearts. Listen to your intuition and follow it, even in fear. And yes, I'm not saying that you can't take advice, you can't take constructive criticism. But what I am saying is that you have to literally, like she said, be anchored in the things that you know that you should do for yourself to make keep your self-esteem high, and believe that you are enough in whatever situation and whatever life throws at you. Even when we fall, you know, the purpose is to get back up. It's not to sit there and stand there and wallow and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, so, and yes, life happens. It can knock the wind out of us. We understand that. But the thing is to always, and I mean always, like she said, that anchor in your soul, that's it. That man, you could drop the mic, okay? If I knew that it would mess this show up right now, I would, okay, to prove my point. Anchor in your soul. You got to be anchored in it. That is character. That is belief in yourself. Belief in yourself, confidence in yourself, not egotistical, and not putting up this fakeness that you got it all together just to act. Let's just, again, prove to others that you do when you don't. It's really having the character and really having a true confidence, being really authentic with what you believe about you and the real you, not the one that you want to put on social media, that you living your best life. And you probably can't even define that. You know, when I ask my clients about that, they can never, ever, not in a little bit, tell me what their best life is. And so you out here quoting this quote, and you don't even know what it is. To me, that's part of knowing who you are and that you are enough and that you can have whatever it is you have. And I'm starting to preach, and I'm trying not to. So, yeah. I guess I want to wrap this on up. So a couple of things, like some tips that we want to get to, you know, like just sum up what we've said. The first thing is foundation. Foundation, having a rock solid, firm, concrete foundation in your home. And like she said, foundation, Kristy said, foundation in your soul. I wrote down, build on your strengths. The things that you know you do well, the things that you know you do better than someone else, you know, build on those. Work on your weaknesses. So don't concentrate negatively about your flaws or what you consider your flaws, but work on your weaknesses. That's why you have other people. We're not on an island, so you will need help. So just build and work on your weaknesses, build on your strengths. Become a master at what you are good at. And then the other thing that she mentioned that I do agree with is character. Your whole life, you should be evolving. So again, to be dependable, a good friend, and all of those positive things in life. Just being a decent, kind human being. Okay? And then last but definitely not least is believing in yourself, having your self-confidence, which in turn is self-respect, self-love, and knowing how to care for you. Okay? You are enough and you deserve what matters to you should matter. You need to also set boundaries, that it's, and we might have to do a whole nother, it's just a lot.
Yeah, this is just the intro.
Yeah, so.
It's a lot to think about,
Yeah.
know. But yeah, guys, we're going to wrap that up with the concept of I am enough. And I think that we, set the foundation on is at least get the discussion going. Think about it, in your quiet time. If you don't feel like you are enough, why? And where did it start? And go back to, kindergarten. Go back to your first memory.
Right.
Go back to that first experience where, maybe you was embarrassed or something in school or in sports or a lack of sports. Like, you got to go there and you got to pinpoint it and you got to work that out. So just start there. So thank you so much for joining us today with your host, Kristy and Melissa, on Two Sisters Podcast. We will see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Sisters Podcast, where we hope to encourage you on your journey of transformation and healing while having fun along the way. Follow us on IG and Twitter. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. It's available on all major podcast providers. Just search for Two Sisters Podcast. Till next time.